We're going to now multiply rational expressions. The rules are here. You want to factor everything first, then cancel only after you factor, and then clean up your answer. So here's our first example. We have two fractions and they're multiplied together. Before we multiply them together, we want to see if anything cancels. So we look at common factors. There's a common factor with x minus 1 and x minus 1, so those cancel. There's also a common factor with a 25 and 5. This can reduce by 5, and this can reduce by 5. Now we go ahead and multiply across. So we're left with 1 times 1 over 1 times 5 times x minus 2. So our answer then is 1 over 5 x minus 2. Is there any domain restrictions? Yes. The domain restriction is if I plug a 2 into here or I plug a 1 into there, they would make those undefined. So my domain restriction is x cannot be 1 and x cannot be 2. Here's our second example. Now we're taking and multiply three fractions together. Let's see what can reduce first. So one thing I can reduce is this 4 and that 4 by 1. I can reduce this 21 and that 4 by 7. So I'm left with 3 and 2. Now another 3 popped up that can cancel with that 3. And now I'm over here. This 2 and 4 can reduce to 1 over 2. Alright, so we've taken care of all of our numbers, our coefficients. Now let's talk about our x's. So first, I can reduce this x cubed and this x to the 5th by 3 x's. So this would become a 1, and this would be an x squared. Now what I'm left with in the numerator is all just 1's. So my 1 is on top. My denominator, I don't want to forget anything, so I'm just going to circle everything in black. I have an x squared, I have a 2, and an x squared left. So my final answer then is 2. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Next example, we want to multiply these together, so let's find the common factor. So I can cancel this x and this x to be 1. I can cancel this 20 and this 15 by 5, so I'm left with 3 and 4. I can cancel this x and this x by 4 of them, so I'm left with x cubed, and that just becomes a 1. And then one more time, I can take this 2 and that 4 and divide it by 2. So what I'm left with in the numerator is my x cubed and my 2. So that becomes 2x cubed. And this becomes a 3, a 1, and a 1, which is just a 3. My domain restriction is x cannot be 0. My next example is factoring. So I'm going to factor this 10 out, and I'm left with x minus 4, taking out the greatest common factor. The next one, I'm going to factor the trinomial using the t-chart method. So what are the factors of 8 that add to negative 6? To be x minus 4 and x minus 2. Nothing can be done with that, so this is just x plus 3. And then in the denominator, I can take out the GCF again. So I have 5, and then left with x plus 3. Now let's see what can reduce. I can reduce this x minus 4 and x minus 4. I can reduce this x plus 3 and x plus 3. And then I can reduce this 10 and 5 by 5. So this becomes a 2, that becomes a 1. All right, so what I'm left with in the numerator is just the 2. What I'm left in the denominator is x minus 2. There's my final answer. Domain restriction. There are a few of them here. X cannot be 4, 2, and negative 3. So 4, 2, or negative 3.